Hey, welcome back everybody to episode 3 of my Survival Mod Spotlight series. This is also part 3 of the Botania Spotlight that I'm doing, and in case you're not familiar, this is a series that is not a typical Let's Play series. I'm focusing on one mod at a time, and I want to progress all the way through it, and in this series I'm leaving out all the other typical things like ore processing, mining, adventuring, base building, and so on. So we're always just focusing on the actual mod that we're currently working with, which is Botania right now. Part 1, we made the basic tools and set up the first mana production. Number 2, we did mana transport here, and then also did some with the lenses, where I derped around a little bit because I wasn't as familiar with the lenses, and it bugged me. I wanted to make sure that I relay all the information possible that I can find out about the lenses. So what I did between episodes is, well, I made an angel ring. We had on the server with a few of the other guys, we went and killed a bunch of withers, so we all have an angel ring now because, well, it's just nicer to have creative light. But I also did a testing world where I set up all the lenses to better understand them. And that's where I want to go for a minute and just show you guys what I came up with. And that way, hopefully, it makes more sense what all these different lenses do. And then we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys there in a minute. Alright guys, we're over here in this testing world. And in case you're wondering why I chose black wool as the surface, is because it makes it a lot easier to see all these different mana particles that are flying around. It just, to me, made it the best contrast. So I think that's the best choice to use here. And, alright, this first section over here is 13 different dyed lenses. Like it says in the book, you guys can see, by the way, that we did upgrade to the 169th edition now. So we just went to Infinity 1.3.1. And so there's a few additions that I actually haven't checked yet. I hope there's no new mana lens that has been added in this update, but I don't think so. And in the book says you can dye them 16 different colors. I was only able to do 13. I was not able to do black, white, or red, I believe. All the other ones I was able to do, I used, for example, for the white one, of course, I used bone meal, and then all the other dyes that you can find, and I couldn't get any one of them to work. So the white dye here, this white dye, and the bone meal. And for the black ones, I tried the ink sac and the black dyes. And for the red one, of course, I used the vanilla red dye. That didn't work. So I was only able to do 13 different colors. Well, if you want to have different colors, for example, for different networks, like you want to make, let's say, this purple one here for your, day blooms or something, and then you want to use maybe the purple for your nightshades, so you can distinguish between the different networks. You can go ahead and do that. It's pretty cool that you can. I am personally probably not going to make use of the dyeing because I like this regular green. Alright, then over here, this one right here is our control mana spreader. This is a basic mana spreader. All these pools, by the way, are everlasting guilty pools. They never run out. They're creative mode only. Just so I have, endless mana in the area. And this one right here I set up, you guys see here, is where the mana drops off. This is where it starts losing. And then I have a dark green piece of wool when the last block where I can actually still see the mana. So this is our control room row right here. And I spread it all the way across to make easy comparison possible. And then I set up all the different mana lenses. This is velocity, which increases the speed, but it transports a little less. It loses mana a lot quicker, and overall it's much shorter. The next one we have is the potency, which I believe goes at the regular speed, but it transports more. It just goes 2 blocks less, and then over here 3 blocks until it completely drops off. The next one is the resistance. Let's see here real quick. What does the resistance do again? I forgot. I think, well, I don't want to guess. Let's go lenses. And let's go to the Resistance will significantly increase the amount of time the mana burst can go without starting to lose mana. Okay. So this one here, you see, goes all the way to back here. So well past the blank mana spreader, and then it just 3 blocks after that it starts to lose mana, and then shortly after completely drops off. So if you want to increase your distance, this one is the way to go, definitely. And the last one we have is the efficiency. Let's see what this one did again. Efficiency will decrease the amount of time it takes for the mana burst to start losing its mana, but when it happens, it does so at a lot slower rate. So it's just 1 block after the control row, but then look how far it goes. I can see it all the way to back here. So this is how far you can go. Now, I personally have not figured out, and maybe you guys can help me out in the comments with that, what the point is of going beyond this initial drop-off. Because, you know, if I transport mana, I personally don't ever want to go beyond this point. I don't ever want to lose mana nowhere, no matter where. So I rather set up another one right here and keep going and keep going. If you guys have any clues of where this might be handy, please let me know. Alright, and then I made 3 combinations over here. The velocity and potency. You guys see it's a lot faster, and it transports more mana than the initial one. But it drops off much earlier and completely out just before the initial drop-off line. So I guess this is good for short distance like we have, but I definitely have to rethink the mana lenses that we have over there in our survivor world. This is velocity and resistance. It keeps going a little further, but then drops off shortly after. And then you have the velocity and efficiency. Drops off earlier, but this one also goes all the way to back here. So that's pretty cool. Definitely easier this way to figure out which ones you want to combine, and I'm going to make use of this in the survival world. Then I went on to look at all the other mana lenses that are available to us as right now. There's a couple more lenses, but we can't get them until we open the portal to Alfheim. So I'm going to revisit them and add them over there, and we come back here once we have those lenses unlocked. The first one is the bounce. It's a pretty cool one. You guys see right here, it goes this way, touches the block, and then actually bounces back the other way and fills this mana pool right now. And if I take this piston down, it doesn't bounce back here. It just goes into this mana pool. There's no way to do an angle or anything like that. But I think it's pretty cool. If you, I'm sure there's some application where you could use this. You know, you just put up the piston like this, and now it goes to another mana pool behind it. I think it's pretty neat to do. The next one is the gravity, which I don't understand. Well, I understand what it does. You see it arches over here. And I don't have a mana pool behind this because, well, there's no need. But you can clearly see the arch it's doing right there. Now, if I want to go from here to there, I would just point it straight at and remove whatever is here. You know what I mean? So I guess the only way where I could see this working is if you have a mana lens here, and then there's a mountain drop-off into a valley, and all the way on the bottom of the valley you want to catch it in a mana pool. But then again, I would just go from here to the drop-off and then in a straight line down. I am not sure where I would ever use the gravity lens. This one right here is the bore lens, which is nice, and I'm actually might use this in my regrowth series here very soon. What it does is right now, well, it just pumps it into this mana pool. And by the way, now in this section, besides the gravity, there's always a mana pool at the receiving end, because these lenses don't work if there's no receiving end. So to demonstrate this, if I take this mana pool off and put this wall up, nothing will happen. Even though you see, it is actually showing us, hey, this is where I would travel, but it's actually not pulsing. Okay? Now, if I put this back down and now place a receiving mana pool here, so you're gonna see this in a second that it starts to fill up. And now I pull this up, it will bore the blocks in between. There we go. So it destroys blocks in between. And this is, from testing, I found out, I couldn't get any confirmation, only up to what an iron pickaxe can break. So if I put obsidian or redstone here, it cannot. Actually, redstone does. I think obsidian. That's the only one. Let's just check real quick. Let's get a... don't need you. It should break this one, yes. And let's get a redstone real quick. Just to make sure we test this. It also breaks that. But if I put an obsidian here, it does not break it. Because that's higher than iron. So it cannot do those. It will just stop right there. Alright, but now you could... And I don't know why this one has the animation that comes out here. I don't know why. I replaced this spreader and this spool a couple of times. I don't know what's going on, so this should not be firing this way. This is... I don't know what it is. I honestly don't. This is some kind of a bug, but it's shooting this way. Now, if I take this boar lens and put it here, we get a cobble gen. Oh, this mana pool is full. That's probably why. Let's put an empty one here. See, it breaks it, and now it stopped with the tripping over. No, it still does it. I don't know what this is. It's not supposed to be there. But you see, it breaks it, it goes down in the hopper, and that's an easy way of making a cobble gen without tech. With just Botania. Of course, if this mana pool gets full, and that's why I had this one here as demonstration purposes, it cannot send any more mana now, so it does not break the block anymore. Enough of the boar. The next one is the damaging lens, yes. And I made this little... Can I get down here? Let's summon a zombie, and you guys see, whatever it hits, it will damage. So this was a zombie, and let's put a pig in here. It will also kill the pig. It does not damage players. I tested that. And this one right here, the phantom, goes through blocks. Okay, it's displayed a little wonky because it shows it on top. It actually goes through, and I can show you guys here by putting a new empty one, and you guys see it receives the mana even though it goes through the block. And I think it even works if we put like obsidian. Let's put obsidian here and put a new one. Yeah, it instantly fills it. So it goes through any block. It doesn't matter of the density. Okay, the next one is up here in the air because I was getting tired of fixing holes. This is the entropic mana lens. What that does, any block it hits, it will explode. There we go. Boom. It's obsidian, so it doesn't break it. But if I, for example, put the redstone there... Alright, stop. Let me get there. It breaks the block. So that's what the entropic does. And now this one here is the influence. Now this is a pretty cool one. Because if you drop any block down, it's like an open blocks fan almost. It will push that block in the direction the particle stream is going. And it only pushes blocks. It does not push players, or to demonstrate, it also doesn't push animals. It only works for items. This one is the weight. Now this is a very interesting one. I can see making traps with that. And I'm sorry, I gotta mention one more thing. You guys see these four over here are redstone mana spreaders. Because I wanted them to work on a pulse. Now a quick explanation. The redstone mana spreader pulses. That's important to remember. It only pulses once on a redstone signal. So if I put a lever here, it will only go one time when I turn on the lever. So you need to either have a clock here or something. But what I could see is, and let me just show you what it actually does, it treats any block that it hits like gravel or sand. So this is obsidian, and there's nothing underneath. Right here, let me show you. Nothing there. And when I give it a pulse, it shoots one time, and it makes this block drop. And I actually wanted to... I never tested this. Does it actually fall endless, or only one block? That would be interesting to know. It falls all the way, like gravel and sand. So that's cool. You could have like a doorway here with a pressure plate, and when a player walks over it, you know, you could trigger this up higher, and then you have all these obsidian blocks fall on their head. I think that would be a cool little trap. Alright, the next one is the Kindle. It's a very simple one. Whatever it hits, it will turn it on fire. There you go. It gets a pulse now. Wow, that burned up fast. Can we put something... Can we put obsidian on fire? No. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. It's obsidian. Why did this burn up so fast? Well, it's supposed to catch on fire. Now, there we go. Alright, so whatever this one hits, it turns on fire. And you know what? Let's try Let me see if I can do this fast. Piggy. It does not put the piggy on fire, so only blocks. The next one is force. It's a piston. That's what it is. Easiest explained. Watch it. Pushes it 1 block. Give it another pulse. Push it at another block. And now I could actually demonstrate what I mean. It only works on a pulse by putting, instead of the button, I'm going to put a lever. And we're going to give this only, we're going to turn it on. It's going to get 1 pulse, push this block, and that is it. It only 1 time. So I would have to flip the lever again for this to push again. That's how redstone works. I initially actually thought, you know, depending on the redstone signal, it will either go or not, but it only works on the pulse. And the last one is flash. It's a pretty cool one. I think that would be something you can use with a daylight sensor or something. Whatever block it hits, you see it right there, it puts it on fire. And if I turn my wand off, you can actually see there's now a lamp there, a mana flash, and that I think is just like a torch. And depending on the color of the lens, that's the light it gets. And because it's a redstone one, it's red. So I'm sure I could, you know, use a different mana lens in front of this with a different dye to make it a different light. At least that's what it says in the book. Now we turned it on again, and if you send it another signal, it turns it off. So you can turn this on or off for, like, you know, your outdoor lighting around your house or something. Tie it up to a daylight sensor and then turn on the lights, and then when it's over you can turn it off again. I think that's pretty cool. Alright guys, that's all the lenses. I hope they make more sense now, and sorry for the derping in the last episode, but this also helped me understand them better. And now I'll jump back into the survival world and we continue there. Alright, now for the rest of this episode I would like to make a few toys, and I already made some that I'm going to show you guys what they're doing. Because, well, it's just time to make my life a little easier with farming and building and so on. And there's a lot of really cool stuff in Botania. But all the tools and so on that you use need to have portable mana. You need to have some way of getting mana to come with you, okay? You can't just, you know, throw your stuff all day long in these mana pools. And the way you can do that is by making a mana tablet right here. And it's very easy to make. It's just 8 living rock and a mana pearl. Again, this is just an ender pearl dropped in a mana pool, and we get this mana tablet. Now you guys see it is empty right now. Now what we could do with the mana tablet is we could make a band of mana out of it. Though that's the same storage, everything the same functionality, but in the shape of a ring. And what the advantage to that is you can put it into your ring bauble slot. Now, I am not going to make one. It's very simple to make. You guys saw the recipe, how to make it right there. And in case it doesn't work for you, make sure the mana tablet is empty. This recipe only works when this guy is completely drained. As soon as you put some charge in there, the mana value changes, and then you cannot make this recipe anymore. Now, the reason I like to just have a mana tablet or multiple mana tablets with me is because my ring slots are going to be taken up by other rings that we're going to make here beginning of next episode. So I just don't have the room. So I just leave them as mana tablets, and I can clearly identify them. Now the way you fill those is you go to any old mana pool here. And by the way, guys, check this out. You see all my mana pools are full all the way back here. And that is with this latest Botania update that we're running now. We're on, like I mentioned earlier, 169th edition. They upped power generation or mana generation on some plants quite significantly. Like these Hydrogenas, I think they are now producing 200% as much mana, and also they are now firing constantly. So if there was no mana, which I could show you, no, I'm not gonna fill it there, but you're going to see it in a minute when I drain some mana out in the front. These back here should be starting. So yeah, and that's why all my mana pools are full. So the way you do this is you use your wand of the forest, and when you hover over a mana pool right now, this one says accepting mana from items, and this one says sparing mana to items. So if I put my mana tablet on top of this pool, you guys are going to see particle effects, the little lightning and stuff going on. And because this one is sparing mana to items, it's now giving that mana. You guys see how it's draining and filling that mana tablet. And if I am not mistaken, we should see this in 1 second. When the mana tablet is full, it should be exactly half a mana pool. Let's just wait. Now it should be full. Yeah, there we go. Half a mana pool. And you see, the tablet now is full. And there's no more meta value. And I guess the only other thing that is helpful by having the Ring of Mana, or the Band of Mana, is that down where my XP bar is, the green bar, 49 levels, if you have the Band of Mana on, you get a blue bar that shows you how much mana you have in that ring. But everything that I'm using uses so little mana that I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying you don't need to fill these more than like once every few days. It's crazy. Alright, let's hurry back there real quick. Because now, yeah, you see this? Because now, of course, all the mana is going up front to fill that one mana pool. And just watch this. They're sucking that water much faster and consistently. There's no more randomness. It's done, sucks mana. Done, sucks mana, and so on. So that's really cool. They buffed these. They buffed the day blooms. They buffed the nightshades. And the only ones they did not change, as far as I know, is the endoflames. They did some change on the Entropiniums, but I cannot recall what it was. So forgive me. So that is it. Now we got the mana tablet, and now it's time to put this to use. So first thing I want to do is make some armor. Okay, and the first tier of armor you can make with Botania is the mana steel armor. So this is the helmet, the chest plate, the legs, and of course the booties. Now the cool thing is about this, if you don't have a mana tablet, they give you protection like iron armor. And it has a durability, you see 176 of 176. If you don't have a mana tablet, they will start taking durability damage. But if you have a mana tablet on you, instead of losing durability, it loses mana. So you never need to repair the stuff as long as you have mana. It's very cool, and they also, I think they're a little bit easier to enchant. I think you have a higher chance to get enchants, but I am not 100% sure about that. Alright, then the next thing is, of course, I want to do is make some tools. And we're going to make them all. The Mana Steel Sword. Again, same principle for all the tools that we're going to make. As long as you have mana, these will never take any durability damage. So now I can actually start getting all the tools I want. Mana Steel Pickaxe is just like, I believe the Mana Steel can break obsidian. It takes a day and a half to do so, but you can break obsidian with it. Otherwise, it's about as fast as an iron pick. The Mana Steel Axe, the shovel, and the shears. I really like those because, well, you know, if you get a Silk Touch enchant of these, you never need to worry about losing them because you just keep repairing them. And then there's one more tool that I'd like to make. I've never made before. I don't need it because I already have Silk Touch on this one. But this Vitreous Pickaxe, it's very cheap to make in the early game. And what that does, let me demonstrate it real quick. It's a Silk Touch pick for glass, only for glass. Let's get a piece of glass and put it down. Normal pick or fist, you know, you lose the glass when you use it. But if you use this Vitreous Pickaxe, it's a Silk Touch for glass. And you guys see, no durability damage, but the bar here has moved on the mana tablet. So that's pretty nifty. Okay, and now, last thing I want to show you guys today is everything in my goodie bag that I've made between episodes, because it just took too long to make them all. Honestly, and the recipes are very simple. I'm gonna get them all out real quick here. Those are all these rods, and they're very nifty, and I'd rather spend some time demonstrating them. You guys see how I already have a mana tablet. You can never have enough of them, but anyways, for example, when you look at these recipes, you know, it's just always a cobble, some runes, and these living wood twigs. If I haven't shown you guys these, that's the... Yeah, I did show you guys how to make these because we made the one on the forest right there, which also takes 3 of those sticks and 2 petals. So I know I showed them to you, but this one takes cobble, and this one, you know, takes a blaze powder and a rune. This one takes in this combination. So the recipes are very easy. There's no reason I need to do that on on recording. You know what? Let me sleep real quick so it's a little brighter. Almost, come on, hurry up. There we go. And now we can play around with these. All right, the first one is the Rod of the Depth. And again, all these only work when you have mana on you. It doesn't matter if I'm next to the mana pool, they won't work if I don't have a mana tablet. This first rod, the Rod of the Depth, you right click and it plays cobblestone out of thin air. And it uses, you know, a very little amount of mana. You can place a lot of cobblestone. And it's normal cobblestone, so when we break it, we'll get the full block and everything. It's not a magical stone or something. That's it. There's the cobble that we got. All right. The next one is the Rod of the Lands, which is the same as the cobble, but instead of cobble, you place dirt. This is the dirt stick. It's awesome. When you go out exploring and you need to pillar up somewhere because you can't fly it or something, it's such a beautiful toy right there. And the last basic rod, I'm going to call him, is the Rod of the Seas. And what that does is simply place water. Again, out of mana, so we can now here make a, you know, endless water source, simply placing 2, and there it is. It's super awesome to have. I like it. You cannot place, let's say, inside of a cauldron or something like that. Or let me see, let me get a block ready here because I'm gonna make a mess. I don't think that I can, if I place it. Ooh, this might actually work. I want to try this out if it works with the Petal Apothecary. Can I place water inside? It does. But I don't think it works with other things like a cauldron and so on. It must be specific to the Petal Apothecary. But that is actually really cool. I didn't know about that. All right. The next few rods that I want to take a look at is, let's take a look at these two real quick. The Plentiful Mantle. It's very interesting and it costs a lot of mana. That one can suck you dry pretty hard. When you hold down right click on the mouse, you see this animation. And do you guys see all these particles now? And when they move around, it's going to be easier to see. That's where ore is, under the ground. What kind of ore? I don't know. Probably, well, let's see right here. There's supposed to be one right underneath me. Get the shovel out and dig down there real quick. Yeah, there it is. Aluminum ore. So if you use this rod again, it doesn't show it to us because yeah, it is right this area right there. That's where the aluminum is. So that's what this rod is for. You can find ore. What kind of ore you can't say, but it's still, I think it's pretty cool. This one is the Rod of the Skies, which is a really cool little rod, especially in the beginning. If you don't have, you know, a jetpack or anything yet, what that does is it shoots you up in the air. Bam. And let me put my angel ring away just to show you guys, because you don't take any fall damage with the angel ring, but you also don't take any fall damage with the Rod of the Sky as long as it is not full, like now. If I would, and I can demonstrate this over here. Let's do it right here. Hopefully I can get up there. Yes. All right. So now I'm going to wait for this to fully charge again. Now it's full, and now if I jump down, I take fall damage. But as long as that sky is not fully charged, you don't take... So you probably, you know, want to make sure it's empty before you land. Or it's not full, I should say. Now, in combination with the glider, watch this. Bam. I mean, how awesome is this for exploring? This is really cool. And now again, I'm going to take fall damage if I do it. But if I just charge this up, boom, no fall damage. All right. I think it's a nifty one. And now a couple of other ones that are pretty cool that I have not used before myself, but I thought I'll make them. I think that's it, right? Those three and those two. So we got two more. A Rod of Molten Core. And I have to get some stuff real quick to show you guys. Now the only two that I know it works on is cobble. Actually I can come over here, that's easier. Let's get sand, let's get gravel, let's get dirt. Let's try these out. Let's put a sand here, cobble there, dirt here, and gravel there. When you use this Rod of the Molten Core on sand, it smelts it into glass. When you use it on cobble, it smelts it into smooth stone. And on... Oh, dirt, it made dry dirt. I had no idea it does that. That's sweet. And on gravel, it made concrete. Well, that is awesome. I had no idea it does that. That is sweet. Huh. But on things like, for example, grass, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything on wood. So let's go over here to this piece of dark oak. It doesn't make charcoal out of it or something. It only works on certain ones. But this one is a nice surprise. I had no idea about the concrete. And the last one I'm going to show you guys today is a little dangerous. But you can mess with people really nicely. When you hold down the right click, you fire this up like that. And you make a... I don't have my flight. And it makes a ring of flames that puts anything inside of it after a few seconds on fire. And you see now it has to charge out of the mana tablet. It actually uses a lot of mana also. But it's not real flames. It's just a magic flame that puts things on fire, but it does not burn wood and so on. So it's somewhat safe to use if you can get out of it. And does it work right now? I don't think it does. Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't yet. It needs to be fully charged again. Let's give it a second. Because I want to show you guys, it's not just in the ring. You actually, above of it, you also take damage. And I want to see how high we need to go in order for us not to take damage. Come on, hurry up. It's almost done. And done. So let's use just once. Right click. It makes a little ring and I'm on fire. And if I fly up, it seemed to have stopped. So I don't actually know what is the point. One time right click and it sucks the entire thing dry. Okay, so you don't need to hold down the right click. Where would be a practical application for this? You go into your cow pen and use it. All the cows die and you get steak. That's the main one I can think of. Against mobs, it's not really that good because, well, you gotta keep the mobs in there or something. And that's it. Alright. And the last act of today is a flower out there that I made, and it's called the Clayconia. This guy right here. And let me show you guys just the recipe. It's very simple to make. Shift right click. It's just 2 light gray mana petals, 1 gray mana petal, a regular light gray, a regular gray, and a regular cyan, and a rune of earth. And it makes this Clayconia. And it's really nifty, okay? You just set this near a mana pool, it runs on mana, and now when you place a block of sand next to it, it transforms it into clay. It's only 1 clay, but hey, it's free. So what you can do, for example, is just stand here and hold down the right mouse button, and then, you know, after a minute you have 64 clay. That's it. That's what this flower is for. It doesn't really need a lot of mana, and not a lot at all. And it's very nice to make clay. You know, a lot of times you need clay for grout and whatever. And it's a pain in the butt to look for it. And there you go. Endless source of mana. Clay, I mean. Alright guys, that is it for today. I know it was a little longer, but I packed a lot of information in here as much as I could. Let me know if you guys have any other useful tips and tricks about the rods. For example, what would you use the rod of the hells for? And also, if you know of any other blocks that we can use the rod of the molten core. I just found out these 2, the dry dirt and the concrete, which I didn't know about. But do you know of any other blocks we can use that on? It would be nice to share. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And I'll see you in the next episode. We're going to continue with Botania. There's still a lot to do. Take care and bye-bye.